Here's a digital SAT math question. It's the third root of 117n times the fourth root of 117n squared, which would be, the root is the fourth root, 1/4, squared is 2/4 is 1/2. But if you're going to do it by hand, you recognize that. If you're going to just type it into Desmos, think maybe you can. You probably just leave it as it is, except you can't write a fourth root. You have to write 1/4 power. So x to the 1/4 is the same as the fourth root of x. At least I don't think there's a way to write fourth roots. Someone put in the comments if there is. For what value of x is the given expression equivalent to 117n to the 12x power, where n is greater than 1? Since n is greater than 1, 117n is greater than 1, and that means I could really just put that in the square root. So this is 117n to the 1/3 power. I'm just going to do it by hand first, then on Desmos. 117n to the 2/4 power, which is 1/2 power. I would not go to Desmos to solve this myself, but it's always a good idea to see if you can. Equals 117n to the 12x power. And make sure I do that, because the 117 is also on that, or is also raised to the 12x power. So when I have the same base to different exponents, I add the exponents. 1/3 plus 1/2, common denominator is 6. This is 2 plus 3/6 equals 5/6. So the power here is 5/6, and it has to equal the power on the other side, equals 12x. And now I have to make more room. Okay, I divide both sides by 12. 6 times 12 is 72, equals x. So you can write 5/72 or whatever that equals as a decimal, and this will fit. 1, 2, 3, 4 characters, including the slash. You've got 5. Now, I can also do this on Desmos. It's a good exercise. Again, I wouldn't do it myself on Desmos because this is just an exponents question. There's no reason to do this, but I can set up a regression. Let me find Desmos. I'm going to set it up again so I can show how it's set up. And by the way, 5/72 is equal to 0.06944444444444444. Okay, whatever. So the 4's go on forever. So now I'm going to get rid of that so it doesn't bother me. I'm put 117n to the 1/3, 117n. Make sure the whole thing is parentheses, raised to the 1/3 power, times, and I'm just going to enter it as it is, 117n, and I got to raise that whole thing to the 1/4 power, and then I raise that to the 2nd power, just like it's written there, raised to the 2nd power. I'm going to put that equals, I need a thing there, and I guess that's okay, that's all good, and that's going to be f of x, f of x. I think this will work. And then I put g of x equals, and I'll put the other side, 117n to the 12x. 117n raised to the 12x. And I'm going to put, what happens if f of x1, I want to do a regression here, and I'll put the little tilde, g of x1. And now I have to come up with some values for n, because this answer, these numbers that it gives in the regression, where the root of the mean square and error is 0, which it's exact if it's 0, but this could include any values of n. I have not constrained n, so this could be n is -7 or something, and that's a problem because it says n is greater than 1. So I need to do n equals, and I'm going to make it greater than 1. I'll put 2 ... 100. That should be enough values for it to be greater than 1. And now look at the root of the mean square and error. It comes out to a very tiny number. Well, the reason it's a very tiny number is, remember, the answer is 5/72, which has the 4's going on forever. Well, this comes out with just, it doesn't show the 4's going on forever. So it's just, it ends the decimal. So it's not exactly 0, but it's very, very tiny, which means it's a very good regression. And I need 5 characters, so I can put 0.069, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I can put 0.0694, or 5/72, which I'm not going to get from this regression, but I will get if I do it by hand. Now, you might have gone wrong if you put one if you wrote 117n to the 12x like that and you forgot the parentheses, now only n is raised to the 12x, and you're going to get a wrong answer for the x value. So you got to make sure that you have your parentheses set up right, because the whole thing 117n is raised to the 12x, not just the n part. And it goes for everything. You got to make sure your parentheses are set up right. But anyway, that's how to do it with regression, and then also to do it by hand, which again, I would do it by hand because this is just a very simple exponents question. The thing inside or raised to powers is all the same, 117n. So it's just an exponents question, but always good to practice with regressions.